Husband, 30 male, cheated on me 27 female, with my own sister 21 female. Upset, confused, angry. So my girlfriend and I have been together for 6 years, we live together, and we have a 5-week-old daughter. My sister and I had a really tight connection since my parents weren't always the greatest or most supporting figures in our lives. So we clung together, and I considered myself the mother and father role in her life. My relationship with my spouse has been severely strained after the birth of my kid. He would remain late at work, be dismissive when I tried to express our sentiments, and huff and puff while I was caring for our baby. I had a difficult pregnancy and a traumatic delivery. Therefore, my libido and overall body confidence are low. Most days, I don't want to be intimate, and my spouse would give me the silent treatment, but I never worried about him being unfailing. I was nursing my kid on the couch tonight with my husband sitting next to me. We were both watching TV and his phone started buzzing, but I had a sense something wasn't right with the number of alerts and how fast he would respond. He stood up to go to the restroom, but this time he didn't have his phone with him. I took it, entered the passcode, and investigated who was sending the messages. It was my sister who called. My heart plummeted before I glanced at the texts, and my heart was in my mouth as I began looking at the messages. There was nudity, and a discussion about how I'm not putting out like I used to, which felt like a dagger in my chest. They had met around 4 times, which I realized were when I was going to the doctor for scans and checkups and shopping for my grandparents. I'm completely disturbed. I have no clue what to do, where to go, or how to approach them. My whole world has come crumbling down around me. My spouse and sister have both died. Update. I should bring a friend or family member with me. I prepared my baby a bag, bottles, and other necessities for a brief visit with my auntie, who has been nearby during the pregnancy and knows how to care for my kid, since I don't want my child in the home while I discuss this. My husband was perplexed and asked why I was packing for her, but not for myself. I told him he'd have to wait and see. Come over right now, I texted my sister. And she pressed the issue and phoned me, but I simply texted her to come over here. It took her approximately 15 minutes to arrive, during which time my aunt arrived and grabbed my daughter, and my husband became more concerned. My husband slid out as my sister pulled him up. He burst into tears when he realized what had happened. My sister walked in and I instructed her to sit down, and then I did what you all asked. I took images of the chat, her number, and all the tension on the chat, and then I brought it up on the smart TV and got them both to tell me what had happened. I was aware that I seemed nuts, but I didn't care. She began to weep, and he began to apologize again and over, and I explained that they had shattered me, that I had raised my sister and given my husband a daughter, and that this is how they would reward me. They said it had been going on for at least 7 months. He'd her in our bed a few times, and they stated it wasn't like they were in love. He admitted to kissing a coworker while getting a lawyer in the morning. I'll be picking up my daughter in an hour, and he's presently packing his things as my sister is weeping and begging me not to disown her, which I'm ignoring while I write this. I can only rely on myself at this point in divorce, is my only choice since I don't want my kid to believe men can do this to her. He's pleading with me and they're both pleading with me, but I'm not breaking. They built their bed and they can sleep in it. Update 2. That night I was in shock and went into get away from me mode to avoid being found out. All I wanted was for them to leave my house and out of my peripheral vision. It was a shambles, as everyone attempted to persuade me, apologies, and sobbed their hearts out. My husband left the house with belongings in a bag, presumably to seed his mother, and has not returned. It was clear that my sister was sad, and I knew she was honest in her guilt, but it doesn't make what happened any less tragic. She left not long after, and I went to pick up my son from his daycare. In the end, it wasn't a really festive Christmas, and I spent it alone with my child. It was at this time that I wept uncontrollably, ate excessively, and decided to send my sister the contact information for a therapist who had been recommended by my therapist. If there was any grooming going on with my girlfriend when she was younger, these are merely assumptions at this point. I want to give her the space we both need right now. If there was any grooming going on with my partner when she was younger, I want her to speak up about it now. As for my partner, he hasn't messaged me, inquired about our daughter, or said anything that I would have anticipated, such as "I'm terribly sorry this has occurred," or "Can I come pick up size?" As for me, I'm not sure what to expect. It seems that his mother has barred me on all social media platforms, and I have not attempted to contact her by phone to check whether she has also blocked me. It is my sincere belief that he has escaped and is utilizing his mother's residence as a safe haven. All of the legal divorce paperwork is now in the works, and I'm concentrating on me and my child at the moment. It was quite depressing, and the effects of it all finally caught up with me a few days later, but I'm feeling much better today. Story 2. Just found out my BF cheated on me. Need advice, please. Right now, I'm in a lot of discomfort. I just realized that my partner of 1 year and 3 months had been having an affair with another woman. I found explicit videos of a woman, followed by one of him, which he then transmitted to her through the internet. I'd also found from a girl who he said was just a friend, which I discovered later. The fact that I'd only been living with him for 4 days when I found out shocked me completely. This was my first serious relationship at the age of 25, and it was a great experience. I adored him with all of my heart and fantasized that we would be together for the rest of our lives. I mean, I planned my whole life around him, to be honest. To make things even worse, after graduating from college, I returned to my mother's house. My friends had all moved away, and I had been feeling rather lonely for some months at this point. That finally led me to the dating app Tinder, where I ran into him. Fast forward to the present, and I feel as if I've returned to the beginning, since all of my friends were also his, and I've returned to my mother's house. I've come to the conclusion that the whole year has been a waste of my time, and all I have to show for it is the fact that I was duped. This has resulted in my being alone once again. I have an overwhelming want to take him back, despite the fact that I know I shouldn't. The fact that I don't want to return to living alone, and that I don't want to return to living with roommates means that I have no idea where I will live. I'm terrified because I have no idea what will happen in the future. He did not cheat anybody in any way, shape, or form. But that wasn't the first time I'd encountered him. This was the 3rd time I'd done it. After the 2nd time I sat down with him, I informed him, I consider messaging other women and sending nudes to be cheating. It's something I don't want you to do, says the boss. I'm not going to do it again, he said, staring me straight in the eyes. I had faith in him. Take a quick look at today's situation. I discovered one of the DVD he had sent her at my residence, while I was most likely in the bathroom or engaged in some other activity. It takes a certain kind of slimy individual to do this. The reality of the matter is that it makes no difference whether or not he or she perceives it to be cheating. The reality is that I had asked him to stop doing something that was causing me irritation at the time, and he continued to do so. However, if it had been the other way around, even if I disagreed with it, I would have stopped right then and then because I would never want to bring him any pain or suffering. Then he clarifies, it's not like I went out and screwed them. Is it necessary for me to regain him? Individuals that have been in my footsteps are eager to share their experiences with me.